Hey there, in this video, we're going to talk about CPI inflation. If you're new to the world of economics, don't worry. We'll explain everything you need to know about CPI inflation in an easy to understand way. Inflation is a common economic term that refers to the general rise in the prices of goods and services over time. This means that the same amount of money you have today will buy you less in the future. CPI inflation is a measure of inflation that tracks changes in the prices of a basket of goods and services commonly purchased by consumers. The CPI is used to calculate the purchasing power of consumers' money and is used to adjust wages and government benefits. A higher CPI means that prices are rising faster and the purchasing power of consumers' money is decreasing. The CPI is calculated by tracking the prices of thousands of goods and services and comparing them to a base year. The percentage change in prices over time is then calculated to determine the inflation rate. The base year is the year that is used as a reference point to compare prices over time. The components of the CPI include housing, transportation, food, medical care, recreation, education, and communication. Each component is given a weighting based on its importance in the typical consumer's budget. For example, housing is given a higher weight because it is a larger expense for most consumers. It's important to note that the CPI is not a perfect measure of inflation and may not reflect the prices that you personally pay for goods and services. However, it is widely used as a benchmark for measuring inflation and can provide valuable insight into the overall state of the economy. The relationship between CPI inflation and unemployment is also important. When inflation is low, it's easier for businesses to plan for the future and make investments. However, when inflation is high, it can lead to uncertainty and cause businesses to delay investments, which can result in higher unemployment. CPI inflation also affects interest rates. When inflation is high, central banks may raise interest rates to slow down economic growth and prevent inflation from spiraling out of control. On the other hand, when inflation is low, central banks may lower interest rates to encourage more borrowing and spending. CPI inflation is also important for measuring the overall health of the economy. A healthy economy should have a moderate level of inflation, which is usually around 2%. This level of inflation allows businesses to make investments and consumers to make purchases without worrying about prices rising too quickly. Finally, CPI inflation is a measure of inflation that tracks changes in the prices of goods and services commonly purchased by consumers. It's an important tool for understanding changes in the economy and can help individuals and governments make informed decisions about their finances.